G'day and welcome to day 4 of my attempt at servicing the Yanmar VIO55. So today we're going to tackle the final drive gear oil change and the air conditioning fan belt, which I've adjusted before, and I know that's fun to get at. So this is the final gear drive. Now we've already started the excavator, lifted this track up in the air and driven the motor until the 3 screws, the fill hole, the drain hole and the level bung are all in a line vertical, and then put it back down on its tracks to work on it safely. So we'll have a go at getting those out. So my weapons of choice today are this impact driver with a Allen key socket piece in the end of it. Had this since 1977. Bought it to work on my first motorbike. Buy a good tool and they last forever. Who was this made by? Vessel. There you go. Times over the years this has got me out of trouble in there. Oh, easy peasy. Let's crack that then. Right. And a 19mm socket. Ooh, that wasn't very tight. And that was that. Right. I'll just take the bottom one out first to slow the rate that the oil comes out, because this container's not going to take all of it. Drip, drip, drip. So there should be about 1.5 litres in here. Let's clean that bung up. We'll flow with that. So there's 2 of these to do. I'll only film one of them because the other one's just the same. Well, this one seems to be a bit short on oil, which is interesting because when tracking, this one always seems to be a bit short on power. Perhaps that's why. Right, I'll go empty that out. There we go. Empty it into the can for disposal. There we go. Remember not to touch anything on the tracks because they're covered in mud and it just falls off into the pan and work area. So let's clean those 2 nuts up. Remove the level bar. Right, I'll just leave that to drain. Be back when it's finished. Okay, while those dregs are dripping out, I'm just going to put the bungs back so I don't flush, and then just go around these screw holes, WD, just to clean them out, make sure there's no dirt there. Just to make sure that everything is spotlessly clean. Nice. And that one out. Ooh, rusty around here. Lovely. Because these screw holes, bung holes, spend most of their life literally buried in mud or dust, depending on the time of year. Okay, we'll leave that to finish draining. So that looks to be pretty close. So we'll stick a cleaned bung back in. Find a socket. That's the only problem with these Kamasa sockets. There's a big shoulder there, which when you've got a shallow head or only just get onto a nut, you lose 3mm of contact because you're on that chamfer. I have got a number of these sockets that back in the day I machined the end off in a lathe with a very hard tool to get them flush so that they'd go on and work better. Right, now, so we're topping this up with high-tech oil again, LS90, which apparently is the right stuff. Now, I had a panic last night. Suddenly wondered if the oil I was putting in the hydraulic system, which was HVI 68, should have been 46. And I went and looked in the manual, and 46 is what it says in the manual, but then it says under the temperature range, cold temperatures 46, at higher temperatures like here where it's going to get up to high 40s, 50 degrees C of a day, working out in the sun, you should use 68. So that's why we're using it. Yeah, that funnel's not going to work. This is going to be entertaining. Okay, so we've made up an adapter. This should work. See how this goes. So a speck of dust in my funnel. Oh, it's going down. That's what we want. It'll be slow, but it works. So just see if we can adjust the camera up with one hand. Oops. Try to just camera up with one hand while pouring oil with the other. Sorry for the jerky vision. Right. How about that? So we're waiting for it to come out of that hole there. I suppose should have bought it in 1 litre squeeze bottles. That would have been quicker. However, it's working. That's one funnel full. So this is a new unit of measure. A funnel full. It's slow, but it's the banging in the background is the wife shutting the lid of the Dometic fridge, which, unless you give it a good thump, clicks open again. So, looking at these sprockets, they don't seem too badly worn, which is good. So there was 4 litres in this container, and they've put a sight glass down the side. You can see that. There's a sight glass down the side, but no measurements on it. Nothing to give you a handy hint. Oh, put about a litre in. Another about that much will do. So that's number 2. So that's 2 funnels full. The manual gives the amount you need in litres and quarts. But when you do the conversion, it doesn't work out, because the quart they're talking about is an American quart, which is not a quart, because their pint is not a pint. Same as their gallon is not a gallon, because they have 16 fluid ounces in a pint instead of 20. So it makes their pint short, their quarts short, and their gallons short. So beware of taking American measurements in quarts and thinking, oh, that's 2 pints. It's not. Just another inconsistency in the world for no apparent reason. This is slow, endless. I shall only film doing this one side. You can take it as read that the other side's identical. I've slacked the bolts and they came out without any trouble. So, impact driver for the hex drive and a socket for the 2 nuts, and they came out easily. They're not tight on the threads because there's an O-ring underneath them all. They're just the O-ring sticking. And this is the adapter between the suction device and its largest hose, and then a bit of 6mm beer pipe, I think, crammed in the end of it. Right, 3rd tiny funnel full, 4th tiny funnel full. I think we're beginning to get close. Be interesting to see if it drives better when it's got a full level of oil in here. I don't know if it's just splash lubrication. I assume the motor is actually driven by hydraulic motor from the pump. So, and this is just splash lubrication to the planetary gears. So, yeah, it shouldn't make any difference. But we'll see how it goes. Long, slow job. I'll shut up and then just fast forward it. There we go. We're there. Excellent. I might get the 17mm spanner just to snug those up. Right, that's that side done. I'll go and do the other. I'm now going to attempt to change what I hope is the final part of this service, the belt that drives the air conditioning pump compressor. I have adjusted this once before, and that was a day of swearing. So I've got a vague idea how to get at it, and I know it's difficult to get at, never mind replace. So we'll see how it goes. It's also going to be very interesting to try and film because it's very tucked in at the back of a dark engine compartment and you can reach it by fingertip. So I'm going to get a camera in there as well. It's going to be interesting. Okay. First I shall remove the radiator side cover, which I don't think gives me any more access, but it does allow a bit more lighting on the situation. Slacken. Ooh, you have to take that light out. You have to slacken it. Yes, that swings out. Steady. There's the fuel tank side glass, which is unreadable. Wonder if I could change that to something that you could read. Pull at the bottom of it. Stuck at the bottom. That means it's empty. That might be worth changing. Spiders. Right, the belt that I'm after is in here somewhere. Seem to remember I took this bottle off last time and another bracket. spanners, screwdriver. As I said, this will be interesting. Okay, I'll try and remove the overflow bottle. Oh, it does. It does. It does. It does. This Jubilee clip is an extra. Right, so now that allows you to remove these brackets. Oh, bang, crunch. Rust. I can see rust. Okay, that's that bracket. That's that bracket. So they're just guards. Put the 2 bolts back in there. So that just sits there and guards from where you can't get your hands anyway. Right, so this is the belt here. The 12. Okay. So that's the belt now exposed. Can you see it? Yes. There's the belt to change. Back here, don't know how that even shows up. Oops. Back here, that thing you can see in my fingers, or can't see in my fingers, is the adjuster. But how you get at that to change it is a good question. Can't take this out. It's the counterweight. That's to be a forklift and a skyhook job. It's definitely this belt to be changed. There's the other belt, which is the water pump. Fortunately, it is at least the outside belt, and it only goes. Got my hand stuck around the fan. Around the fan and the crank pulley. So I have the new belt. A 17246018120 8A04A. Again, like everything else I bought from Tut Bryant, who are the agents. So there's the belt. It is a A36 belt. Nothing unusual about that then. So, I seem to think that a 10mm socket will undo that tension. As always, the 10mm socket is the one that's missing. Oh, 10mm is the one I've got here. And even with my long socket, it's too short. Alright. Oh yes. It's the nut on the centre of the pulley that has to be slackened. Oh, I might need to go and get the manual. Okay, what the manual doesn't tell you, or does tell you, but it's in very poorly translated Japanese, so you can't understand it, is this is the adjuster nut. Screwing that down raises this pulley, which is a tensioning pulley. So you would think when you slacken that off, this is its lock nut, which is what it tells you to do, adjust with the adjust nut, tighten the locking nut, it would go up and down, but it doesn't. It doesn't make any difference whatsoever, because in the middle of the pulley, there, you can almost see my finger on it there, because I can have the flash or I can have the camera, but not both. But there is a 12mm nut in the middle of the pulley. When you slacken that, it becomes loose, and then when it drops down, then you can probably have a go at changing the belt. To be fair, it does sort of give you this clue. See, focus here, tension pulley and bolt, but that's not what it says. Remove the cover. Adjust the belt tension by tensioning the tension pulley bolt and lock nut. Lock nut, adjust nut. Tighten the adjust nut so the slack of the belt should be adequate. Somehow you're supposed to get 22 pounds or 98 Newton meters on this point here and measure that, but yeah. And then tighten the tension pulley bolt. Tension bolt, but it's not said. Adjust the belt tension by tightening the tension pulley bolt, but you don't. You slacken it to allow it to become loose, and then you adjust the adjust nut. Then when you've got it right, tighten the lock nut, tighten the tension pulley bolt, and that should be it. It's just poor translation. There's almost no point in filming this because you won't see what I'm doing. suspect I'm going to take this off, you know, and never get a new one on, but there we go. It's off. It's off 2 of the pulleys. It's off all the pulleys. And out. Oh yeah. Cracked. It's frayed, it's burnt. It is end of life. Okay, sometime later. Finally got the belt on at the far end. But what I have discovered is that this pulley here has got some really bad lumpy rust in it. So I'm going to try, see if I can clean it up a bit. I need it to not spin. Some real big lumps of rust on this. This does seem like the best way of doing it. I'd say it's good, but it's better than it was. It's not good, but it's better than it was. And there's no big flaky lumps of rust on it now. Right, so we now seem to have it over the far pulley, middle pulley. Oh no, we haven't. Yes. You know what 22 pounds feels like. Oh, 22 pounds, well, 56 pounds, half a sack is a sack of potatoes. So it feels like half a sack of potatoes. That feels like, I mean, if that was a fan belt, I'd be going, yeah, half an inch tension. Yeah, that'll do. Right, we'll try that. Lock that up there. Oh, 10mm lock nut. There, that's that. That feels quite tight. Feels like someone's having a fit. Yes, and it sounds like a tight one. Oh, the old jokes always at best. Carry on screaming, that was. So if you're offended. No. 12. There we go. Rackety bits which go this one round. So all those things, they're so easy when you know what you're doing, and so difficult when you don't. Click, click. Okay. In with a water bottle, which has obviously worn its plastic guts off. It fell off here, and somebody in the past has decided that the easiest way around it was, rather than a new plastic bottle, to do the same, was just wrap a hose clamp around it. Oh, Jubilee clip, depending on where you come from. It's between min and max. Push the hose back on. Redo that clampy clamp, and we're all back together. Well, oil level, oh, spot on. So now the other thing to do is to check the air conditioning level, which is done by peering when it's running. Camera. When it's running, you peer with the air conditioner on full chat. You peer through this sight glass here. With the exhaust in your face, and there's a little sight glass there, which I might get that from the other side. If I can. Oh yes. And at the moment I can see white with a dot on it. So we'll look that up in the manual and see what it says. Right, here goes for ignition. Old joke, contact, clear prop. The book says at full rev it blows a lot of air and it's cool. Okay, so we refer to the manual. Now I've just been back to it with having had that very short run, and the bottom pipe into the compressor pump is hot and the one coming out is cold, and the temperature difference is big. High pressure pipe hot, low pressure pipe cold. Right. Now what I could see was it looked clear, then it would go all white and foamy and then clear, and then all white and foamy and then clear. Almost transparent. Even if air foam flow is seen, it becomes transparent as the engine speed changes. Quantity is adequate and normal. High pressure pipe is warm and low pressure pipe is rather cold. Temperature difference is not so big. Well, I haven't got any way of measuring it, so I don't know. There's no difference between, well, there is. So it's this or this, normal or slightly abnormal. Air foam flow can always be seen. It's sometimes transparent or white. No, it keeps going clear. Some parts are contaminated oil. Refrigerant might leak in a small amount from some part. Right, so it's near enough good. And say the aircon's not been touched for, well, 3 years I know, and who knows. What's it say in the service? Does it ever say? No, nobody has ever made a note. 2011 it was new, so it looks like in coming up for 12 years, it'll be 12 years old and 11 years old in June. It has never had the aircon touched. So it was cold air blowing out the vents, hot pipes hot, cold pipes cold. Most of the symptoms of normal. I'll call that a good one. So I think here endeth the service. All seems good. Air conditioners acceptable. Certainly getting cold in the cabin, and I've never known so much airflow, so that's good. The squeaky noise from the belt from the air conditioner has gone, obviously with that exhausted belt. A change is good. So I'll just button up the sides, log it all in the service manual. Job's a good one. Have fun. Don't forget to click and like and subscribe.